All right, welcome on in.
This
I'm feeling a little sick. I've been sick for the past couple days, so excuse me for a raspy voice as I'm recording over this. But got some Dragon Ball videos that I wanted to post. The other day, a pal of mine challenged me for the smoke, and he wiped the floor with me. It was pretty bad, you know, whipped my tail, if you will. So I wanted to get back on. These are some ranked matches that I had. I was playing as Super Goku here, going up against, I believe this is Super Saiyan Goku, so pretty similar. You can see I was still a little rusty using the auto combo right there. Some Vanish Wars worked, some of them didn't. This one here I took advantage of pretty early, which was nice. Yeah, just an announcement, don't get sick, it's not fun, you know. I mean, if you do get sick, it only makes you stronger, so just power through it. Maybe play some Dragon Ball on your off day, you know. Use an instant transmission there, but he had Wild Sense to counter that, which was pretty nice. And then we get into a little Vanish War. I was getting the timing back down again. That was kind of my biggest struggle when I was doing some practice quick match games, was just getting the timing down. Super counters I definitely have no control over, but perception, I did a little bit of spamming there. As you can see, this first game is just kind of a lot of spamming, and he just let me do it, which was nice. You know, when I was a B4, I'm a B4 rank, so this was a B5 here. So, you know, pretty similar in rank. I don't know if he'd taken as much time off of the game as I did. I was able to get him down with a couple key blasts there, and we were able to rematch. He rematched me because he probably saw through what I was doing there. We get stuck in the time chamber here for a moment, so that was kind of hard to navigate. I definitely like using the time chamber over any of the other maps because you don't really notice the border as much. The border with the other maps really bothers me because you get stuck on it and there's just nothing that you can do. But as we all should know by now, this game is pretty broken anyway. So that's how it's going to go sometimes. I was able to dodge that rush attack. That was pretty nice, but he had gotten a pretty good advantage of me. But then he was able to he let me raw spark there, which was pretty cool. Didn't have enough key to rush through, so I was able to just kind of spam the key, blast a little bit, maybe try to get him back down to my angle. But then I got bored. I had for rush, you know. At some point, after you do that for so long, you just kind of have to go in, close the gap a little bit. I love this little rush move from Goku Super. Really, any rush attacks are up my end, but that 9k damage is definitely no slouch. Interesting that he actually transformed. He was the only one that transformed in any of the matches that I recorded. I just played base the whole time. You know, those skill points are valuable. If you're going to transform in a single match, why not just pick that person? I don't really get it. I didn't think that he got a health boost, but maybe I'm just not paying attention. Yeah, using some key blasts here to make sure he's not hitting my blocks, and then I'm able to get behind him, run him up a little bit with some flying kicks there. I'm still rusty. You know, if any game experts are watching this, you can definitely tell that I'm not in my A game, but just to be sure, I wanted to make sure I got into sparking mode. I don't think that I engage with him again after this. He doesn't really block my heavy key blast, yeah, so I didn't even really need to use sparking on that. This next guy is using Goku. Who's a good character. I definitely like Goku. I don't really remember a whole bunch of the mechanics since I stopped playing in February. And, you know, I'm sure that this game lost a lot of its fan base since February because there hasn't been any patches. You know, they've been really taking their time with this new DLC with the Daima characters and all that. And it's just a broken game overall. I caught him right to the dome right there just because he was getting close to me. Figured that one was going to hit. You can see throughout this match here, I do kind of abuse the supers though. He gets back at me there with that one. That's an easy block. I just didn't do it. It was late at night when I was playing. What can I say? Get him on a little combo. He's using the revenge counter. Well, he specifically liked using the vanishing assaults, which I thought was interesting, and they're a lot easier to avoid than I originally thought, where you can just kind of sidestep out of the way after they disappear, or if you can time it right, I do believe you can vanish that again. So, you know, there's definitely a lot of good defensive methods. that I took advantage of this time. I got lucky. I dashed out of the way of his rush attack there after he instant transmissioned. That one can be pretty tough. I haven't really... Maybe it's just so insignificant of a problem that I don't hear a lot of people talking about that mechanic, but yeah, if you can't see the guy, it's pretty hard to dodge, you know, beam attacks or rush attacks really, but beam probably more likely than not. It's just so much closer. But as you can see, you know, the hands, they were doing the talking for me. I was getting some combos. Not sure what that key move was. I definitely have to do my research, see how I can do that consistently here. But, you know, he was getting pretty down. Honestly, he was pretty difficult for me to close the gap with and engage. He was either... I think he super countered really well is what it was. He super countered and he was able to percept. He kept throwing me, which was annoying. But the throws don't really do that much damage. This was probably the closest fight that I got to. As you can see, I'm at half health, at least against him. Actually, this next fight is going to be even closer. So overall, we had a pretty good bout, pretty even match through the whole thing, which was pretty cool. Cannot complain about that. I'm not sure if I'm going to continue to play this game, or if I was really just doing this because my one boy, shout out Hassan, I mean, it was unbelievable. Part of me wants to say broken game, part of me wants to say skill issue, you know. That's how it goes sometimes. He was a higher rank than me, but I didn't really pay attention to rank when I was playing. I was using Future Gohan, Oob, those are kind of my mains. I like both of them. Mostly because the Wild Sense can definitely come in handy, but it's pretty easy to counter a Wild Sense. Not that you're going to see it in this video, but overall, it's fairly easy to do so. You can see this guy was using a lot of Vanishing Assaults. I wasn't really winning the Vanish War. I'm having a hard time super countering that move, where, you know, they Dragon Dash to you instead of vanishing to you. That can be pretty difficult, and then those up close rushes, I was trying to Raw Spark, so I was getting a little ahead of myself for sure. I think that this is the fight that I was talking about, where I do kind of panic here and there, where I go for some ults that I don't really need to, or not ults, but supers I should say, because I don't think that I Spirit Bomb here, but I do get a rush in. Yeah, right here. Which he vanishes, so, you know, it was pretty inconvenient that he had done that. I do actually get another Raw Spark in. He tries to Vanish Assault again, just sidestep that. It's pretty easy to avoid if need be. So I get him there. I don't think that he's gonna, yeah, because it's so close. I pressed it like immediately, so it was pretty easy for me to go ahead, finish him off like that. And then yeah, I got a little greedy. I tried to just Kamehameha that over, using instant transmission again, and he actually gets me there. Again, instant transmission is it's a pretty broken move if you ask me, but maybe there's just something that I'm missing. If anybody does watch this and want to comment, hey, how can I avoid the instant transmission? That would be pretty helpful. That right there was just a sign of a broken game. Me not locking onto him. You know, it was easy to do when the game first came out, but to this not so much. This Bardock here was probably my favorite bout. I've got 3 clips of him, but he whoops me in this first clip. You're gonna see here pretty soon. I just had no answer for his engagement methods here. I was able to percept a little bit, but overall this is really just all hands. He's blocking, percepting when needed. He super countered that right there, and then he won a good amount of the Vanish Wars too. As you can see, he won that one again. It makes you think sometimes when you don't win the consistent Vanish War, or even can get to the second Vanish, if you're locked out or not. Sometimes I have that, but you know, that could always just be skill issue, timing issue. That's how it goes. This was a big combo that he did there. He was able to throw me, and then he vanished me up and down, just wiping the floor with me on Planet Namek here. I think at some point, yeah, he goes for the rush. I thought that I had dodged it, but then he gets me underwater. No fun. No fun at all. I have like a shrivel of health left, so I'm able to instant spark, and then I go up to try and get him, but all of a sudden his 4 skill points become 5. And so I'm trying to use the rush move, but then he does the shockwave explosion. That's That's all he needs to beat me. So he talks a little shit right there. Would never lose to my kid. Well, the game did not do you any favors in this next 2 clips here. Trying to close the gap again. I ain't afraid. I'm going for those. One thing I definitely have to work on is the lip strike, as you can see there. I missed that idea where, and that could just be a button mashing issue where once I get them lifted up to go in and complete the strike there, complete the combination. Just a couple little details. I was able to get a throw off there because everybody was just throwing me in all these clips, which definitely got annoying. I definitely have a little combo that I like to use where if you get them on the ground and they're sitting down for a second, you can always down smash and up smash again to kind of get the knockout trail working. But that could also be a B rank type of move. I haven't really seen too many Z rankers do that. I was able to instant transmish that time, but he was kind of spam hitting at the same level that I was. Again, he was using those dragon dances, which I wasn't. That explosive wave didn't affect me there, but he goes for the instant spark, and I was able to vanish his rush move there. So that pretty much ended the whole instant spark for him and gave him enough time, for whatever reason, for me to go ahead and instant spark. I don't know why he didn't try to close the gap there. He was a little bit farther away, and he's just deflecting all my key blasts, but I'm key spamming here for a little bit. He finally rushes me, and I think he's able to hit me to where my instant spark stops. Yeah, so I'm just at a full bar. He gets the perception off. He's still ahead, I believe, in the health gauge at this moment in time, but then I'm able to get this rush move off, kind of tip the scales a little bit, and I still have hella skill points. So I'm at a pretty good advantage right now, in my opinion. I'm just out here charging. Again, skill issue. I actually go for the raw spark instead of just using my skill points for it, but in the event that I would have needed him, I guess that's the only other thing. But I might as well have instant spark, because in that way he wouldn't have been able to raw spark himself, and I would have been at the better advantage overall. So this here, again, broken game. I did dash out of the way, but you can see for just a second, like right there, that his beam just missed me. I thought that I was countering it with the Spirit Bomb. To be honest, I think that I probably shouldn't have won that one. But hey, you know, that's how the game goes. Spirit Bomb overtakes his little beam. And then I get the little salute as he falls into the water. So we go for the tiebreaker here. We go for that last match. You know, we're key spamming at one point, circling. He's able to step in, get me off my guard, get a couple good hits in, get a rolling hammer. You can tell that he does know how the game works because he's using all of the right rush chains. You know, he'll get a flying kick at one point, he'll get a rolling hammer to turn me to my back. I'm not doing any of that, if you guys look closely. You know, I'm doing a little bit of a step-in method here, which is always nice. He got the knockback, so that kind of messed me up in my groove, and he was able to retake control. A lot of this fight does end up taking place underwater, so Ki almost becomes an afterthought because of that. And the water, you know, you can see why people don't really play underwater, is because it takes so much longer to Ki to be better in that regard. Getting a little bit of a vanish war, he's able to kick me out of the water, thank goodness. But then he knocks me back in. So with the shockwave, we're both able to instant spark here. He gets the first hit on me. You're going to see again here that this beam misses. And I don't know if that's just a product of the game, or if I know that I didn't do anything because I was just being knocked back. I get walked off of him, but then I was able to combo enough to where the Spirit Bomb pretty much kills right here. So, you know, not exactly of true Saiyan nature to just go for that, but those are my videos. I'm posting them. Hope everyone has a good day, and thanks for watching.